All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for sticking with us. It is now time for us to take you all through that segment you've been waiting for, the Star Corner. And it will interest you to know that we have so much interesting, amazing personalities waiting to be unleashed. And of course, the first person we'll be looking at now is right here with us. Her name is, just a moment, but I'll let you know, her name is Omotunde Adebowale David, popularly known as Lolo One. Good morning, madam.
Good morning to you. How are you?
We're fine.
Yes, I think thunder struck twice in my sight.
That's interesting.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
All right. So I understand that you're a very popular person for as long as media is concerned and virtually all the fields that you've ventured into. I'm talking about the comedy, I'm talking about the movie industry, so much, MCs and what have you. You do so much. But for the benefit of those who might be watching us for the first time, could you please just tell us who is Lolo One, to be very precise?
I'll just say I'm an art form. I'm a very creative individual. I thrive in the creative space. I believe my superpower is my voice, so I use it effectively in every way that I can use it. So that's why you see me sing, you see me dance, you see me act, you see me do poetry, you see me, do motivation, you see me do all sorts of things that I can do with my creative self.
So when you talk about your superpower, how did you realize that? How did you harness that? And who told you that your superpower is your voice?
Well, nobody needs to tell you. If you're very intuitive, there's something everybody does effortlessly that you just do naturally. It comes to you. I've been an entertainer for as long as I can remember who I am. So I believe that the screen defines me. And I've found my own niche and space in it. And I'm living my own truth in it. And I think I'm having a great run at it.
Okay. All right. You're a woman of so many things, professionally speaking.
Yes.
You're an MC, you're an actress, you're a radio and TV personality. You're also a dramatist. So much. How are you able to deal with all of these extremes? So much so that they're not clashing each other. But of course, I know that at some point you took a very strong decision so as to let go one for the other, which is you had to quit the radio job. But then before we get there, first and foremost, and of course you're a mother of 4, am I right? So how were you able to deal with all of these prior to the time you got to that point where you had to make that very strong decision?
It wasn't even a decision at most. Who said I divorced radio? I just gave it a little space because for me the radio space now is a bit dynamic. It's more very youth centric, and one of the things you need to know is when to get off a horse. It doesn't mean you're not going to ride it again. For me, over the years, I've learned how to prioritize my life and be able to put everything I'm doing into perspective. And almost all the things that I see myself excelling at, they're very connected to each other. So it's not overly different that one goes from one extreme to the other. They're almost all similar. So it's just what I'm doing part-time that I give the most credence. If I'm on radio, then this is radio. Now I'm a filmmaker, I'm a producer, I'm an actor. So I'm giving that more prominence right now. So that's why I retired off radio for a little bit, to be able to concentrate on building my brand and my portfolio as an actor and a producer. At least that one is, that's a beautiful thing about life. You can do as many things as you want to.
I was even coming there because I wanted to even ask you what actually gave you that drive to want to venture into several things. And of course, I know you're not tiring out. You still want to do much more. So what was it about?
I just like to live. Everybody is created with a lot of talents. It doesn't matter that you are top-notch at everything. But the beautiful thing is that you can take everything you're gifted in and use it. It's like a waste. If you can sing and you're not singing, you don't have to be a Wizkid or a Tiwa Savage. But at least if you think your voice is passable. I've been acting forever. From stage, I've done a lot of stage presentations. I've done radio. I've done poetry. I've written poems. Just keep expressing yourself. I don't believe any human should limit their capability. At least whatever talent you think you have, try to use it. And the more you use it, you find out that one will stand up against the other. You find out, oh, I can do this better. Maybe I should give this a little more time. But imagine if you never tried. If you just, I'm a lawyer by training.
Wow.
Imagine, I practiced law 3 years after I left school, but I knew that I wanted to do more. In fact, when I wrote my project in school, I wrote on neighboring rights, the rights of a performer. And I wasn't a performer at that time. But, you know, it just resonated with me. So I believe that everyone that is created, there's something unique in you. You just have to find that spark and fan it. I say spark. A lot of people are waiting for fire, but they don't know that the spark is where you get your fire.
Yeah.
When you fan it, the fire, the inferno will come.
Yeah.
So that's what I like to do with my life.
All right. I appreciate for the most part your dynamism, especially with regards to you being consistent in expressing yourself however it comes. If it's music today, tomorrow is comedy, the next day is this, is that. You're just there. You just keep going. You're not started at some point in time. But then my understanding about all of this is everything looks serious.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's your job. It looks serious. So when you're not doing all of this, what are you doing? What are you known for? What are you doing at that particular time that is not serious?
Yes, I like mothering. Honestly, I love my kids to bits. I love playing their mother. And it's one of the things I consider most valuable in my life. When it's holiday time, if you check my Instagram, the first thing you see is hashtag mommy season. That means I put aside a lot of things and focus on them. I like watching and helping to nurture them to the individuals that they are. All my children are different.
What's the oldest?
My oldest is Oluwafemisha, my daughter. She's 18 plus.
Okay.
And then her brother, 16. Then I have a 14-year-old and I have a 12-year-old. And 11. Okay. And they're all individuals. So I like to invest time in them. We do a lot of fun things together. I like to read a lot. And I watch a lot of films. Maybe in my pastime, besides the fact that I'm a filmmaker, I love to travel. And I like water. So you can't see a holiday that I'm involved and water is not involved, or nature.
Okay.
So those are the things that relax me. And, you know, when I'm stepping outside my serious work mode, I swim.
So for you, it's more like what you do when you try to loosen up, isn't it?
Yes. And a lot of people confuse the fact that we are humorous people to be like that's who we are as a person. Sometimes if you meet me, I'm not going to crack any joke. And the older I'm even getting now, I'm more introverted than I've ever been. Wow. So sometimes I just like to sit and watch beautiful people like I'm looking at you both.
Do more of the listening than the talking.
Yes.
Okay. So what are the challenges when it comes to mothering and, of course, parenting? Because, of course, you're dealing with a Gen 8 kind of kids.
Oh, my God. That's a whole spectrum on its own. I just think it comes down to everybody departing from what you used to know. There's a way I was brought up. You can't bring your children up that way. You're going to lose them. The children of now, you have to, as a parent, for me, you have to keep up with the times, or you're going to lose your kids. You have to know what are they into. I know my daughter's slang. If she writes something, I would ask around, what does IGGF mean? And they'll tell me, oh, okay, I would learn it. Because any parent now that wants to use old school parenting, what I do is hybrid parenting. A little bit of what I used to know as per morals, because those are things that we're losing.
Sure.
But I'm not going to allow that to infiltrate with my children's individuality. I still want them to blossom while I guide them. No matter what expression they decide to take, I want to be able to guide them and help them put parameters, because what this generation lacks is boundaries. And boundaries are not bad. They're put there for a reason. It's to curtail you.
To keep you in
because
check.
Anybody can become excessive, even I. So boundaries are good. So now that this generation just wants to push back on boundaries within my home, I just set boundaries. They might not be visible, but I don't set visible boundaries that will scare them. But trust me, there is a boundary.
In their subconscious.
Oh, yes. When it comes to that, I will push back.
All right. I actually concur with you in the area of being a mother. Like you said, you don't toy with that. Just so, you know, serious about that. You give it your all and all that. And I feel, that was actually what informed your decision to really put a pause to the career of media, which is the radio stuff you did. But then again, I would like to ask you, still staying on that, how did you feel when you had to pause that? Didn't you feel like something great was leaving you?
Not really, because media is you. There's nothing like pausing. When I left Wazobia, I'd been there for 13 years. I had given a lot. I moved from Wazobia to go and pioneer a new radio station called Asgidi FM.
Yeah,
I was the general manager for like 2 years plus. I enjoyed building a brand from up. And because I've done this, I know what I'm looking for. And after that, I even consulted for Law FM for like 5 months last year. So it's not like I've left radio. I'm still in and out because we never retire from media. And now social media is everyday life. If you watch my Instagram, it's like watching a TV program.
Wow.
It's either I'm harassing my kids or I'm doing something. So radio, everything has become intermingled or intertwined. Yeah. So I wouldn't say I left radio because you might hear me tomorrow. Maybe some radio station might say, oh, Lolo, come out of this, your hiatus, and come and do a 2-hour post show. I might be open to that. Who knows?
All right. So
okay. Let me just delve into a little about private life. You say you love reading.
No, you said private. I was scared.
I was going there gradually. I don't want to go straight immediately. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much, when it comes to you being readable, are you?
How readable am I as a person?
Yeah.
I'm very dynamic as a person. I call myself like, let's say 7.
7.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the kind of books that you read, and how much inspiration do you get from those?
My life is very fantasy based.
Okay.
So I like fantasy. So I read a lot of fantasy books.
So you build your castles in the air?
Yes, I do. I like to live in my own world, in my head. If you walk in my mind, you'll be scared because thrillers are there, scary things are there, things that, make you jump at night are the things that I think about. So I read thrillers. I like to read. I don't read as much motivation books, except it's something that I'm trying to get something of. So I have times that I want to delve into that.
All right.
Tell us more about your relationship life with your family.
Oh God, I don't want to talk about that.
See why I say I don't want to
well, I've been a single mom for such a long time, but I'm not sure I'll be single for much longer. Let me just say that.
All right.
Someone standing by.
I said I've been a single mother for like 11 years, but I'm sure I won't be single much longer.
All right. Now away
he that has ears, let him hear.
So we can take our shot anytime soon.
Have you come out of your datas yet?
I was just trying to be noticed.
Anyway, away from that, talking about your brand, Lolo One. Well, a lot of people do not know you as Omo Tunde Adebowale David. They only know you as Lolo. Exactly. So
and all the other
talk to us about the Lolo One. How did you come to, having that brand, Lolo One?
When I joined radio many years ago, I just did a show and I said I wanted to be given like a pseudonym.
Okay.
And I got like 3,000 entries.
Wow.
People sent all sorts of names. But you know that the Igbo culture has always resonated with me. So when I saw Lolo, I knew what it means. It's like an elevated female, and a chief, an Igbo's wife. Yeah. It's just like saying Olori in Yoruba.
Yeah.
So it was apt, it was appropriate, and I just assumed it over the years, and it has stuck like glue. People most times forget my real name.
And the funny part about it is that you carry yourself in that aura.
Oh my God,
that's zero exaggeration, but that's just the truth.
After the show, don't be surprised, I'll chase either Josh or Sam.
That's loud.
But I think the most exciting thing that I've done recently is, I have I've produced 3 films of my own. And that's really exciting. My first film was When Love Is Not Enough. And unfortunately, I did it in indigenous. I did it in Yoruba. You know, a lot of people don't think that, oh, you can actually make impact telling our stories. But I want to tell more African stories because we have stories.
Sure. Very
America has told out almost all their stories. If you find out now, Cinderella is existing in Rapunzel's story because they seem to have reached like a limit. But Africa, we've not even told half of our stories. Our slave era, the era before that. You know, there's so much beauty in Africa to tell. And you know, I was so excited. My latest feature, which is called Deja Vu, you know, was #1 on Netflix for like almost a whole month. I was like, oh, I'm stoked. So you guys, if you've not seen Deja Vu, please go watch it. It's on Netflix and it's mine.
In fact, we're coming there because we have a lot of questions packed for you. But I just hope time will, you know, just allow all of that. But I want to still come back to your career.
Yeah.
You are into so many things, like I said, and that's a whole lot for me. Because if you're a man, I would understand, but you're a woman and you're doing all of these things without even having to sweat.
Why not?
I really can't tell. But then again, I understand that you might have something called a mentor in all of these sectors, the movie, the media.
Yes, yeah.
Who are your mentors in all of these sectors, and how have they been able to affect your life positively and professionally?
You know, a lot of times for this new age mentorship, even while I was growing up, you had mentors from afar.
Sure.
You don't have close mentors.
Sure.
When I was growing up, Ruth Benamezia Opia was one of my biggest influences. I would see maybe our parents made us watch the news. Yeah. She was like a goddess to me. I would sit and watch and look at her beautiful, glowing black skin, her diction. A lot of people say, oh, Lolo, you speak well. Do you know I learned how to speak English by watching television?
So perhaps someone would have thought maybe you went to a school for that particular
But that
reason.
is what the influence of television is supposed to be. It's supposed to have a lot of positive impact. Those were the things that, you know, really shaped me when I was growing up. Television-wise, unlike when I now began to foray into radio, then I met you know, in Wazobia FM, because prior to that, I did English programming. I had the likes of Cordelia Okpe, you know, veterans in Radio Nigeria who had mentored me growing, and I met Yor, and I got a lot of influence from him in the pidgin radio sector. Then in comedy, I had the likes of Alibaba to look up to. I had Monique, you know, to look at in those departments. In film, we have the likes of Joke Silva, and in a pre-TV presentation, I had Oprah. I had, you know, those were the kinds of people that I read about their lives, I watch their shows, and those were the things that, you know, developed me. All right,
so we're pressed for time, as my director now has informed me. So as we coast home, I just got two questions in one for you. So give us in the next less than 2 minutes. Now, my first question, what was the support system you got from the parents, delving into media precisely? And of course, those who are watching you right about now, what do you think they can take home from you?
I think from the beginning, my parents, you know, of course, my generation, they will push back because they don't understand. When I wanted to foray into entertainment, they were like, of all things, why would you leave law and want to come and do entertainment? But I tell everyone, like I've always said, just succeed. Once you've succeeded, every other thing becomes history. Wow. And if you're listening to me and you love my life, I always leave everyone with this simple word, that life is an endless circle. What goes around always comes around. So make sure that whatever you're doing, that you're giving to the universe, be sure that you can receive it when it comes back to you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Omotunde Adebowale David, also known as Lolo One. Thank you so much for stopping by to share your thoughts with us. We hope when next we send you an invite, you will definitely accept
Surely,
it.
I've had a wonderful time.
Thank you very much. All right, the show is not over yet. We'll be switching gears now to the same segment, the Star Corner, but yet another guest is waiting to come in and then, you know, thrill our day. Stay with us. We'll be right back just after this time out.